Evander Holyfield has reportedly been sentenced in a case that is already sparking a huge reaction, with boxing legends including even Mike Tyson said to be commenting massively on the situation, creating a major buzz across social media. The former four-time world champion and boxing icon is allegedly facing a shocking downfall in the public eye, with online rumors about financial struggles, lost fortune, and legal decisions circulating widely. In this video, we will break down what is actually true, what is being said online, and why everyone is talking about it today. Evander Holyfield was born on October 19, 1962. In the small town of Atmore, Alabama. He was the youngest of 9 children, and he was born from a different father than his siblings. His family moved to Atlanta, Georgia, where he was raised in the crime-ridden Bowen Homes housing projects. The neighborhood was not kind. But the boy was restless. At 8 years old, he joined the Warren Memorial Boys Club in southeast Atlanta and won the club's boxing tournament. At 13, he qualified for the Junior Olympics. By 15, he had won the Southeastern Regional Championship and taken home the tournament's Best Boxer award. And there was something different about the kid. He was not the biggest. He described himself as a physical late bloomer, only 5'8" and 147 pounds when he graduated from Fulton High School in 1980. But Carter Morgan, a counselor at the boys' club who tightly controlled the boxing program and only allowed the most disciplined boys to participate, saw something in him. And whatever Morgan saw, the rest of the world would see it soon enough. By the time he was ready for the big stage, Holyfield had compiled an amateur record of 160 wins and 14 losses with 76 knockouts. In 1983, he won a silver medal representing the United States at the Pan American Games in Caracas, Venezuela. The following year, he was the National Golden Gloves champion. He was selected for the 1984 U.S. Olympic boxing team and went to Los Angeles as a light heavyweight. What happened at those games would mark Holyfield for the rest of his career. In the semi-final bout, he was competing against New Zealander Kevin Barry and was controlling the fight. Near the end of the second round, Holyfield unloaded a combination, a right to the ribs and then a left hook that put Barry on the canvas. The referee, a Yugoslav named Jigurj Novicic, waved Holyfield to a neutral corner and then counted out Barry. And then he did something that stunned the arena. He turned to Holyfield and disqualified him, claiming he had thrown the left hook after a break was called. The pro-American crowd went crazy. And Novicic had to receive a police escort to exit the arena. Even Barry himself, the man who had been knocked down, told Holyfield, "You won the fight fair and square. It was a robbery in broad daylight." At the medal ceremony, the gold medalist, Yugoslavia's Anton Josipovic, lifted Holyfield up to join him on the gold medal podium, showing respect the referee had refused to give. Holyfield walked away with a controversial bronze medal and, more importantly, an unrelenting chip on his shoulder. That disqualification gave him motivation and something to prove. He would spend the next 3 decades proving it. Holyfield turned professional right after the Olympics. On November 15, 1984, he defeated Lionel Bayarm at Madison Square Garden in a 6-round decision, part of a card called Night of Gold that featured the Olympic gold medalists. Everyone except the man who had had his gold stolen. After starting 4-0 as a light heavyweight, he moved up in weight to the cruiserweight division, and then he ripped through it. On July 12, 1986, he defeated Dwight Muhammad Qawi in 15 rounds in Atlanta to win the WBA Cruiserweight Championship, becoming the first boxer from the 1984 Olympics to win a professional world title. He did not stop there. He successfully defended the title, added the IBF belt and then took the WBC crown from Carlos de Leon to become the undisputed cruiserweight champion of the world. Holyfield was the first ever undefeated cruiserweight title holder. And then in July 1988, he vacated those titles and moved up to heavyweight because the man from the Bowen Homes housing projects was not done climbing. On October 25, 1990, Holyfield scored a third-round knockout of James "Buster" Douglas to win the undisputed heavyweight title. The WBA, WBC, and IBF belts. He was the champion of the world. He defended it against former champions George Foreman and Larry Holmes. By 1992, he was a household name, endorsing multiple products on television such as Coca-Cola and Diet Coke. He even had his own video game. The Money Machine was running. Holyfield's reign as undisputed champion ended when he lost a 12-round decision to Riddick Bowe in November 1992. He had made a tactical mistake, getting into a slugfest with the younger, bigger, and stronger Bowe. Round 10 of that bout was named the round of the year by The Ring. Holyfield was knocked down in round 11, but survived to hear the final bell. It was a spectacular loss, but it was not the end. It was a chapter. He recaptured the WBA and IBF titles from Bowe in a rematch in November 1993. A fight that is remembered for one of the most bizarre moments in boxing history. When a paraglider crash landed into the outdoor ring during the 7th round, sending the crowd scrambling, Holyfield won on decision. Then came the loss to Michael Moorer in April 1994. A 12-round decision. And then the worst news of all. After the bout, he was diagnosed with a heart defect and announced his retirement. Most fighters would have stayed retired. Holyfield did not. Watching a television program hosted by preacher Benny Hinn, Holyfield says he felt his heart heal. He went to a Benny Hinn crusade in Philadelphia. Had Hinn lay hands on him and gave him a check for $265,000 after he was told he was healed. He passed his next boxing commission examination. He later stated the heart condition had been misdiagnosed due to morphine pumped into his body. He was back. And now the fight the world had been waiting for was finally within reach. Evander Holyfield vs. Mike Tyson. The two men had been circling each other since the late 1980s. A fight was originally supposed to happen in 1991. But Tyson's subsequent conviction for rape in 1992 indefinitely shelved the fight as Tyson was sentenced to 6 years in prison. While Tyson sat in prison, Holyfield fought on, won, lost, retired, came back. By the time Tyson was released and had reclaimed the WBA title by knocking out Bruce Seldon in the first round, the stage was set. On November 9, 1996, at the MGM Grand Garden Arena, the pay-per-view event was called, finally. Holyfield was considered past his prime and heavily favored to lose, but he prepared meticulously. Employing former WBA champion Mike Weaver as a personal assistant and using David Tua, whose style and anthropometrics were close to Tyson's, as a sparring partner. The fight quickly became a war of attrition. Holyfield took advantage of a gassed Tyson and had more stamina toward the end, scoring a stunning upset with a technical knockout in the 11th round, becoming the heavyweight champion for a third time. He was the first boxer since Muhammad Ali to win a heavyweight title 3 times. The fight was named the Fight of the Year and Upset of the Year by The Ring magazine. Tyson was granted an immediate rematch. On June 28, 1997, back at the MGM Grand, they met again. The fight earned around $100 million in revenue and remains one of the most talked about events in boxing history, but not for the reason anyone expected. In the 3rd round, Tyson bit Holyfield's ear, ripping off a piece of it. The fight was stopped. Tyson was disqualified. Holyfield required 8 stitches for the injury to his ear. The moment was grotesque. But Holyfield pocketed a reported $34 million for that fight alone. His career purses by this point had reached staggering territory. Over a 6-fight stretch from 1996 to 1999, he earned $17 million. His total career earnings would eventually climb past $230 million. At the absolute summit of the sport, the real deal had the money to match the name. He was on top of the world. And then, as always, the world started to turn. Even before the second Tyson fight, Holyfield had already begun constructing what would become the most visible symbol of both his success and his downfall. A mansion in Fayetteville, Georgia, just south of Atlanta. Completed in 1994, this palatial estate was built on 235 acres, sat on a road named Evander Holyfield Highway, and had 109 rooms and an area of 54,000 square feet. It was the largest single-family home in the state of Georgia, and it was almost as big as a standard football field. The amenities inside the home were not subtle. It featured a bowling alley, indoor and outdoor pools, a boxing gym, and even a baseball field. The dining room seated 100. There were 17 bathrooms, 3 kitchens, a 135-seat movie theater, a tennis court, a handball court, and stables. The home cost $1 million a year in maintenance and taxes alone. The December 2003 electric bill hit $17,000. Largely because of an elaborate holiday light display. Holyfield also took out 2 additional mortgages on the property totaling more than $5 million. In a later interview with Vlad TV, Holyfield made a remarkably candid confession about how the mansion came to be. He said, "I did not know what huge was. My whole thing is that they started building it and I had all this money." He suggested that nobody in his family thought to check how big the house was going to be because he had not explicitly asked for a massive home. And yet there it was, 109 rooms. A monument to everything he had earned and everything he was about to lose. But the mansion was only the headline. The spending extended in every direction. From luxury cars to lavish parties, his expenses were incredibly high. He spent heavily in Las Vegas and Atlantic City casinos. He invested in a record label called Real Deal Records in 1999. A catastrophic decision that cost him an estimated $2.3 million. A failed restaurant venture is believed to have cost him even more, an estimated $7 million. Meanwhile, the tithing continued. Holyfield's pastor was. Alright everyone, stay tuned for the latest in boxing news, highlights, events, and stories. Subscribe to Legacy Rounds and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Be sure to watch our other videos too. Until next time, take care and stay safe.